Welcome to Sunday Sports Club podcast. I'm Allison Cooch, and today we have on a very special guest, my friend Victoria. And we're going to be talking all about the fact that your husband, Max, was a D1 college athlete. You were a D1 college athlete. I feel like that's actually very common, college athletes dating college athletes. We're going to talk about body positivity and mental health, a little bit about eating disorders, and kind of the whole gist. And mental health, self-acceptance, importance of vulnerability. Welcome to the podcast. Why don't you give yourself a little intro?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I loved having you on Real Pod, and it's so special to be just completing the loop here. And Max and Isaac, for anyone who maybe follows it closely, have a little bit of a bromance. It's like anytime we're all at the same event, like we just can't find them.
They're always just, Isaac's like, oh yeah, Max said this. And I'm like, what? When did you talk to Max?
I feel like Max is the same. He'll be like, yeah, Isaac posted this thing and it just really hit me. And I'm like, what was the thing? So happy to be here as a fellow sports girly as well. I live in LA with Max. We met at college. We've been together for 9 years, married for 2. I got into this business because I was a student athlete. That was where the issue of athlete mental health first came into my life. Right. I started to struggle with my own mental health playing on the USC women's volleyball team, dealing with depression, anxiety. I had an eating disorder, and had never experienced anything quite like that. Yeah. So then when I was going through it, I was like, wait, this is like really difficult. Like, you know, we have all this pressure and all this stress, and we're doing school and we're traveling, and no one's really talking about that side of the student athlete life. So I, long story short, delivered a TEDx talk about that, which led to the creation of the nonprofit I have now, The Hidden Opponent. And now I am not an athlete, but I still try to keep it real in every aspect of my life online.
It's crazy because Isaac, as a former D1 athlete, talks all the time about how once you're a college athlete, like you carry that shit with you throughout your entire life. Isaac always likes to joke that whenever he hires somebody new, if they're a D1 athlete, like a former college athlete in any sense, he's like, oh yeah, like I'm going to hire them because they have like a certain work ethic. Like they're used to doing things that they don't necessarily want to do and like going through a very grueling schedule literally when you're like 18.
Yeah. No, it's insane. My mom, who now pickleballs like 3 times a week, and honestly just then like takes care of the dog and hangs with me the rest of the time, is like, I don't know how you did it. I mean, I'm going to practice. I'm taking my pickleball lesson. I'm coming home. I'm like, Mom, if that's difficult, like the student athlete life,
you wouldn't have survived a day.
I feel like it was, when was I not crying? But of course it was the biggest blessing. I don't regret it. It was a privilege. It was something that shaped me, and I would do it again. And the demand on an 18-year-old without the proper preparation, some of the schools not providing the proper mental health care, it is difficult to navigate emotionally.
I went to Michigan State and I was supposed to be a swimmer, and I literally quit before like the first day of practice because I was like, oh, you want me to do 2-a-days? And I was trying to go to vet school, which we all know that didn't end up working out.
I didn't know that about you, the swimming.
Yeah. I was really good at swimming, but I just was not ready to like take that with me through college. But I watched my brother do it. So I can only applaud you for the hard work, dedication. You're also like, I was fucking depressed.
Yeah.
So, let's take it back to college because your husband, Max, is a sports commentator, formerly a D1 quarterback, went through the whole like NFL processes. So let's take it back because I know a lot of people who listen to the podcast like are in relationships or are curious about student like athletes and that life. So you guys met in college. You can quickly, you don't have to like give us the
I love story.
Are you kidding?
Lore. I'll talk about Max. I love talking about him. We actually met my very first party before school even started.
Oh.
Because the athletes report early. So you go early, a fall athlete, at least for training camp, and just before school starts, you go. So it was literally in the summer, the end of the summer, and it was my very first party. I like just moved into my dorm, and it was that weekend, and I guess we met. I don't remember. Not
It's blurry.
well, not because of like, I was drinking the punch or whatever. Literally, we met so many people. I was like a kid in a candy store, almost like, oh my God, I'm in college. There's boys, there's potential new friends. Like I'm with this new team and I've watched them on TV playing games and now we're teammates. Like there was just so much happening. He says he definitely remembers me. He knows what I was wearing.
He better remember you. You're like, absolutely.
Yeah. So then like we ended up, the athletes would hang out. So we'd be in like kind of similar circles. I knew he had a crush on me. When you know that the guy likes you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
No, it was so cute. Like I'd show up to a party and he'd be like, hi, Victoria. And he'd like bring me a drink. Meanwhile, the guy I'm chasing is like hooking up with someone else,
You're like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah. He was so sweet. And I always had so much fun with him. Honestly, we talk about it now. He gave like husband material. People say people give wifey. Max gave husband. And I was like out of a
He gave golden retriever.
Yes. And I was out of a toxic high school relationship. I really wanted to be single. I don't care who you were. Having a boyfriend was just not something I wanted.
I mean, college athlete, adding a boyfriend, actual college. Like, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah. It was more fun to like, have things. And actually, I had a big in my sorority who was like,
and you were in a sorority? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, kind of. Like,
did you have time to breathe?
No, I mean, but I was like barely in it. Like I got like a special thing where I never had to attend. Like I was always excused because I was an athlete. So
nice.
But so I went to some things that I could. But she was like, I don't know if this is like weird to say, but she was like, you should have a roster. Like you should have a few guys that you can text and like, just play the field. And I was like, what? Like, it was like a whole new world for me. So she was like, you can flirt with a boy in this class and flirt with a boy here. And who needs a boyfriend? And I was like, drinking the Kool-Aid.
You're like, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I guess that answers my question. So you guys were more of like a slow burn, not like a love at first sight. Like he's my boyfriend from day one.
Correct. It was a slow burn. But I will say in my heart, I was always like, looking for him. I had so much fun with him. He made me laugh. Like I loved being around him. And then it was after my whole freshman year, it was the next summer when we were once again at school, out of school training, when like I started to be like, wait, oh my God, Max Browne is like the best. What have I been doing? I hope he still likes me. Yeah, I was like, I need to get my shit together. And then I like sent him a Snapchat, try to like re-spark things.
Oh my God, not Snapchat.
Because I kind of friend zoned him. So I had to give him permission that like, hey, I'm ready.
So then at what point did you guys like start officially dating? Sophomore year?
Yes, sophomore year. It was in the summer. I remember I went over to hang out like after, I had guided the Snapchat combo where I wanted it. AKA, listen up, ladies. Men are they're stupid. You need to literally provide them an alley-oop that's like right above the net.
Here's the meal you want.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put that as the only thing on the menu. And you're like, oh, I want that.
I'm like, so what are you up to? He's like, well, I'm watching the O.J. Simpson documentary. And I'm like, oh my God, you are? Me too. What episode are you on? He's like,
shut the fuck up.
I just finished episode 3. I just finished episode 3 as well. And I'm about to watch episode 4. Should we watch 4 together? That's a great idea.
Max, are you kidding?
So I'd never seen the show. I knew about the case, like, so I wasn't like.
He's like quizzing you on like the previous episode. You're like, I have no idea.
People say that. They're like, were you worried that you would know what's going on? I'm like, it's the O.J. Simpson case. Like, who doesn't, like, what happened?
Know of it.
So I went over to watch episode 4 of the O.J. Simpson documentary and we kissed that night and I like literally blacked out. I was like so just like I had butterflies in my stomach. I was like obsessed with
because
him.
The O.J. Simpson trials were very romantic.
It was so romantic. So that was the start. And then literally from that point on, we've been together.
Okay, so then he transferred. Well, which I feel like I have to say this. A lot of college athletes, it's very common for college athletes to date college athletes.
I would say so because your schedule is so booked. Like you don't have time to really go socialize at like these traditional parties.
Right.
You're doing the Sunday night athlete party at someone's dorm room where you're like trying to maybe have a beer because you're like, I should drink, it's college, but Sunday night's the only night I actually get to do it. And
right.
So you're not really doing it.
And you have like, you go to like tutoring sessions and like all the athletes usually live in the same dorm, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. And then you have like your own library where you study. So I used to like get all dressed up to like, in my sweats, but like have my hair and makeup done.
You're like team issued gear, but like cute.
Yeah, no, totally. And I would be like in the computer lab and it was like the computer lab was a place. Like you could see in JMC like who's walking around. There was eyes going. Yeah, it was fun.
So when girls say like, oh, how do I get with an athlete? I'm like, become an athlete.
Honestly, that's such a good point. If I think about a lot of the guy athletes I knew, they either were dating athletes or it was like a girl from home, right? That
Yeah.
they're still in love with. Or I do have some athlete friends who ended up with a few from girls from USC who weren't in
Regulars.
sports. But yeah,
What is it called?
it's called NARP.
a NARP,
People get really,
non-athletic regular person.
they get offended. That's the term.
I'm very athletic, but I am a NARP. I would say what you call an outlier.
Yeah.
There's a few outliers, but I do think that like the number one advice, I'm like, if you want to be with an athlete, you got to be an athlete,
yeah.
or you got to look like one.
And it's a huge emotional toll to be, you know this, to be with someone who's a serious athlete. Like Max and I fell in love. I was like so excited. And within 12 weeks, he's moving across the country because he got benched on national television, is getting bullied on Twitter. Someone else now has his spot. Everything he waited for is crumbling, and he's now looking where I'm going to go anywhere to try to make this dream come true. And he's transferring. And I'm like, I literally remember saying to him, like, so are we going to stay together? Like, it was so new.
Yeah.
I felt weird to just assume. And he was like, yeah, we're going to stay together. And I was like, okay.
You're like, well, it's crazy you mentioned that because I feel like when you're my same age, right?
27.
Okay, you're younger.
Ooh.
Literally about to turn 30. Fuck. But back then it was like Twitter was terrifying. I remember being at Isaac's football games, like literally just tweeting his name to see, oh, if he got a good play or like whatever. And then it's like, Isaac Rochelle fucking and you're like,
yeah.
And out. So it's really interesting because even though you played volleyball, I just feel like there isn't a ton of hate for volleyball.
Correct. I think that obviously men's sports have a much larger platform. And so
Also, men are very critical of men.
Well, honestly, any of the comment sections on ESPN, Fox Sports, like whatever, literally like the worst places that I've ever been in my life are just in those comment sections about people I don't even know. It's like it's so mean. Like these guys are like, it's like, you fuck me in my fantasy. Like, it's like, this is a guy with like kids and like he goes home and he's just like doing the thing he loves and it's like not that deep for him.
It's like literally not that deep, but these guys need something else to talk about because they're trying to put off, job applications to get off their mom's couch.
Right.
But so then he transfers. Okay, wait, he got benched for Sam Darnold, right?
Yes.
Who is now playing for the Vikings.
Who's about to get possibly $100 million contract. Yep. But literally Max showed me that he's like, whoa, he's like, Sam's about to get like a whatever figure deal. And I'm like, but you have me. I'm like trying to like make him feel.
You're like,
they're still great friends. And Max, it's so awesome, honestly, to see him like root for the guys he played with. He was on the same official visit as Jared Goff, and USC offered Max, and then Jared went to Cal. And it's like, so all of his buddies that he grew up with, like a good amount of them are crushing it. And that would be very, very difficult for a lot of people. And I'm so proud of him for the way that he looks at his story independently and is able to like be really celebratory for these guys he knows also work their asses off. And it doesn't work out for everyone, but it is very sad. Like the day he called me and said, so he long story short, he went, drink every time I say that. He went to Pittsburgh.
I love a girl who's concise.
Yeah.
And I know my listeners do too. They're like, let's get to the fucking point.
I'm so that way. They're like, and what happened? And I'm like, she fell. They're like, could you like, make
elaborate
it a better story?
Time.
Like,
you're like,
she's on the floor.
That's the only thing that matters. So actually.
So he goes to Pitt. He was voted captain with only like a small amount of time knowing the guys is a huge,
impressive
to this day. Like he's really proud of that. He sets a record, has an amazing game against Rice, ACC Offensive Player of the Week, career-ending torn labrum injury. So it has this terrible play, shoulder is dislocated. He would not say he had a career-ending injury because he doesn't like the victim mindset and he likes to take accountability for his life and experiences, and I respect him for that, although I'm like, it was career-ending.
I don't want to do that, but Max will applaud you.
Yeah, he's such a better person than me. So anyways, he rehabbed that shoulder, got it to a place where he did attend a few NFL like tryout camps. Yeah. He will say his arm was never the same. But he'll also say, I had opportunities to get it done at USC and at Pitt before, whatever, and it didn't work out. So very sad. And the day that he called me to say, I've got to hang up the cleats, like heartbreaking, especially when you're the support system and you believe in this person and you've seen all their ups and downs. It's like
Right.
really hard because you're like, no, you can keep going. Like, it's going to happen. Like, what about one more try? And it's like,
Yeah.
but when someone else, athlete or not, is telling you, I'm at peace with how this has gone and I'm ready to do something different, the best thing we can do is like support them in that and then do our own mourning and our own grieving of the story or the life we thought we wanted for someone we love.
And I feel like it takes a really great like partner to be able, I'm not saying that I'm a shitty partner, but it does take a mature like, okay, this is your decision. Like I'm going to support you. And I'm sure he's so grateful to have you for that. New year, new me. No, it's the same Allie, but I do love the new year. I love January. I feel like everyone, is just coming off the holidays and is like revitalized. They're fueled up. They have their goals. They have their 2025. Like, what do I want to do? And you know what's on my list? I want to create a capsule wardrobe. And I'm doing that thanks to Quince. Quince has the cutest clothes from their Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50 to their activewear. And again, new year, new me. Another goal I have for the new year is to stick to my workout routine. And what better way to motivate yourself other than some new activewear? So they have moisture wicking bras and leggings designed to move with you during your workout, and you're going to look cute doing it. Another reason Quince is so great is because Quince pieces are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands, and they're able to do that by partnering directly with top factories. So they basically cut the cost of a middleman, and then you get the savings, and I get the savings. One thing I'm really looking forward to refreshing in my wardrobe are my sweaters. I wear sweaters year round, okay? In California, there's always a breeze, but I genuinely love cute, casual sweaters, and I also like when they're affordable but feel luxury. So if you're like me and you're looking to create that capsule wardrobe or pick out some new pieces for the new year, upgrade your closet this year without the upgraded price tag. Go to quince.com/Sunday for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/Sunday to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Sunday. New Year's resolutions don't have to just apply to you, okay? They can apply to the whole family. And when I'm talking about the whole family, I am including the family members with 4 legs and paws. I'm talking about dogs. And I'm so excited to be partnering with the Farmer's Dog because my dogs are obsessed with the Farmer's Dog as much as I am. The Farmer's Dog has freshly made human-grade dog food. It benefits their coat and skin, energy levels, overall well-being, and they're on a mission to share the benefits of fresh food with as many dogs as possible. And that starts with me because I love my dog and I love when they're excited to eat their food. Ever since I've switched to the Farmer's Dog, my dogs genuinely look forward to their meals, and I swear they have more energy, which I didn't know that was even possible with Gus, but somehow it is. But my dogs truly love it, and I love giving them food, not only that's nutritious for them, but also something that they love. The Farmer's Dog is developed by on-staff board-certified vets and veterinary nutritionists to be complete and balanced, so you're not missing anything. And another thing I love is that their food is nutritionally complete for all life stages, including puppies. It's just real healthy food designed to meet their unique nutritional needs. So if you guys are interested, be sure to get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy dog food at thefarmersdog.com/Sunday. Plus, you get free shipping. So just go to thefarmersdog.com/Sunday to get 50% off. That's thefarmersdog.com/Sunday. There is such a big learning curve when it comes to raising a kid in today's world with their growth, their milestones, TV, no TV, like all of these things. And another thing I didn't even expect to be difficult to navigate is food. In today's world, there are so many hidden sugars, artificial ingredients, misleading labels. It's hard to know like what is actually good for our kids. And that's why I love Thrive Market. It's like having your own personal guide to healthier living for my entire family. And also, not to mention, you guys know I have my own experience with gluten and dairy intolerance. And so finding a place to get those foods is made easy with Thrive Market. Thrive Market makes it super easy to find trusted family-friendly brands without spending hours in the grocery store. So think snacks, meals, pantry staples, like literally everything they offer is 100% non-GMO. And you can also shop with their on-site filters based off what truly matters to your family. So like low sugar, gluten-free, organic, vegan, all of those. Sometimes it's a headache. Going through the grocery store, I'm like, oh, that looks good. And then I realize I can't eat it and neither can my daughter. And so Thrive Market, it's really easy, just like one click of a button and I can go through all of my options. And then one feature I absolutely love is the Healthy Swaps scanner in the Thrive Market app. So you just scan a product that you're used to buying and it instantly recommends a cleaner, healthier alternative. And that is something I can get behind. So if you guys are ready for a junk-free start to 2025, I suggest heading over to thrivemarket.com/Sunday and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/Sunday, thrivemarket.com/Sunday. I feel like even throughout college, you went through your own experience. I mean, he's going through his shit, you're going through your shit. So in college, you dealt with, binge eating disorder, mental health issues. Can you kind of you don't have to go into
Yeah, I will.
into deep, but you can discuss that because I feel like a lot of women and even some men go through that in college. I mean, not even some men, maybe a lot of men.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
College is a huge adjustment. Athlete or not, you're away from your family. You're trying to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life. You are trying to make friends and fit in. You are probably eating new foods. You have new routines. There's a lot
of bagel every fucking morning.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are different. And you're also hopefully exposing yourself to different people, communities. You're hearing about someone who grew up somewhere else and their life and what their family celebrates. And it's so cool in that way. And it's overwhelming because you're like, oh my God, I'm figuring out who I am. And you're stressed and you're anxious. And at the time for me, I also had the volleyball aspect of I want to play. We were the #1 team in the country. We were 22 games undefeated. I was playing as a true freshman.
Badass.
Thank you. So I was also just the anxiety of I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to make a mistake. I want to have everything together. I remember my mom will say the time she came to visit me, she's like, I either was crying or sleeping. And she's like, and the times you were crying, you couldn't verbalize to me what was wrong. And
your mom has the audacity to say, but pickleball.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, it was a lot. And as far as, the issues I dealt with, I feel like I have a very perfectionist type personality and I know what it sounds like to not be that way and hear someone say, I'm a perfectionist. My biggest weakness, I'm a perfectionist. I totally hear that. And I'm not trying to say that in a way to indirectly compliment myself. Ask my therapist. Okay. I'm constantly optimizing. How can everything be as good as it can possibly be for others, for myself? I'll be in a situation and be like, but if my chair was sitting right here, this whole dinner would be way better. My mind goes like that.
I am not a perfectionist.
Give me some.
I think my entire team behind me probably wishes, but I am not. So it's crazy to hear you talking about that, is that you always looked at things as, oh, it could be better, or if I was doing this, it would be better.
Right. I literally am always thinking about that, and to the point where, and maybe now we'll see how emotional I'm feeling today, but when I think about how my mind works in certain situations, it is exhausting. Because I'm constantly scanning. Are they happy? Have I asked enough questions? Did I do this? Are they thinking that I'm being nice enough? Does everyone have what they need? Have I, that's how it works for me. And that's why, I love my time with my literal people or just Max, because I feel like I'm off.
Mm-hmm.
And Max will say to me, you do this to yourself, in the nicest way. He's like, you can be off. You're a great person. You can be off. You don't have to be scanning. Chances are you're going to be nice, ask questions, and everyone's going to have a good time if you don't think about doing it, But for me, it's so literally I had therapy this morning and something we're working on.
I need your therapist's number because you seem so healed in the best way.
I've done a lot of fucking work. I will a lot. Honestly, if people want their whole life flipped upside down, you got to be ready for the call. Read the book A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Okay. I'm actually going to listen to it on Audible on my way home then.
And if you do read it and you're like, what the fuck am I reading? I can't even comprehend 2 sentences of this book. My best friend Aubrey and I did a podcast called So Much to Say where we do a book club. So you can literally read it, be so confused, and then listen to us talk about it. And we dumb it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's beautiful. Okay. So that book helped a lot and therapy helped.
With the self-awareness. Like, so I dealt with the anxiety, and then the anxiety I also coupled with not feeling okay in my body and counting calories and wanting to lose weight and kind of resisting the freshman 15. And then just that hodgepodge of not knowing how to deal with these things, not having a therapist or seeking any support at that point in my life because I thought I had to have all my shit together. That led to, of course, a big depressive episode of being so numb, so strung out, so tired. So that was kind of how those 3 things worked and a highlight of the challenge I experienced.
Oh my God. I mean, it's crazy because it sounds like you've looked in the past and been able to like grow from that. Whereas then I feel like if you don't do the work to improve, you look up 5 years later and like, wait, I'm still dealing with some of the same shit that I was going through. So after Max like formally was like, okay, I'm done with football. Did he move back to California? You guys get married? Like, what did that look like?
No, he said, and I'm going to move to New York. And I said, what? And he was like, yeah. So another thing, speaking of like how to honestly make relationships and long distance work.
Mm-hmm.
This is, if I'm putting honestly, I think one of the most powerful things you can do in a relationship is constantly put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Love that.
When I hear couples fighting, literally I was at Starbucks the other day, I heard this couple going at it and I literally wanted to like interrupt me thinking I can help, right? I didn't. I went, who knows? But I hope they don't get divorced. But literally both of them, I swear one of them could have said like purple dinosaur and the other wouldn't even heard a weird word because they're only thinking about themselves. Like you're literally so rooted in, I don't care because this is my situation. Right. That chances are, hopefully, okay, there are exceptions and there are asshole men particularly. Right. But like, if you are 2 people who love each other and you're constantly like, put yourself in their shoes. And so in this situation, Max, his childhood dream, he was Gatorade Player of the Year. He's not some guy who had this dream and it's like, okay, yeah, buddy.
Which Gatorade Player of the Year is intense. No. I went last year and I was like, oh, this is fucking insane.
No, like, and I say that to say, I'm not like, oh, my boyfriend could have made it and he couldn't have. Like everything in his life was you are the person who's supposed to make it. So now that's not happening. You don't have a resume of internships you've done. You've never thought about another option. And he says,
and this is before NIL. So like you're also broke.
Oh yeah. No. What would have been like a $50 million like contract out of high school. Yeah. And like, even if it doesn't work, okay, you have the money, which is good for the people who get that now. No, that wasn't the case.
I was paying Isaac's rent in college. Okay. Who's the sugar mama?
Yeah,
okay.
That's iconic. So, he said, you know, I love this guy, Gary Vee. I love his videos. I love following him. I really respect his mindset and I want to work for him. And oh, hey, my buddy Sam Darnold, who got drafted to the New York Jets, which is Gary's like chosen team.
Favorite
team. So now is buds with Gary. I hit Sam up to see if he'd put a good word in and I can have an internship. So
okay.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of things that happen.
Oh man, did he manifest?
Yeah. And sweet Sam's like, sure, Max, like this is the least I can do, buddy. Like, I'll connect you with Gary Vee. So and honestly, as hard as that was for me, I'm still finishing school. I would love Max to be here. We've just did long distance to Pittsburgh and now you're going to move to New York. But if I said no, and I said, no, I need you here so we can like hang out on the weekends and I can be with you.
Right.
Maybe he would have resentment. I never went and this was the only glimmering thing that was bringing me like excitement for what could be next. That's not football. Right. And I was like, you know what? I'm in school no matter what. Like, his plan is to come back at some point. Like, we love each other dearly. And hey, we're going to have the rest of our lives together. We already talked that way. Right. So this is going to be such a small fragment in time compared to the life we have together. And it is. I think back, it's like such a distant memory. But he got to have that experience, feel motivated. He came back and he worked another content job for a different media mogul. And then he pivoted. And then he pivoted again. And like, we both have been so supportive of each other's career pursuits. And Max, the same to me. Like, he never was texting me and making me feel like I had to be glued to my phone or reporting where I was or, even now with the trips I have, he's never like, but I want to hang out with you like on Sunday. Like we prioritize.
Like makes you feel guilty.
Yes. I think something that works for us is we both are pretty ambitious and we have our own like careers and lives, but also this beautiful life together. But then we respect the independence and he has his friends, I have mine, and we have ours.
I mean, fucking... Is this not the picture of like a fucking perfect little relationship?
We do a lot of communication. It's not like we actually, sorry, now I'm ranting so much.
No.
Can I keep talking?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So because
I feel like
okay, now I'm like destroying the studio.
No, but I feel like this is what like I feel like I would want from a podcast. Like tell me what works for your relationship, like overly communicating, like whatever.
Yeah. Because especially when you say sounds like the perfect relationship, of course I feel that way. I love him. I love our marriage. I also, do we get in arguments? Yes. Have we gotten upset and cried? Yes. Like that doesn't not happen for couples. But I think we were talking about this at dinner the other night. I think what is the reason that it is the way it is because some people I feel like have, which analogy do I want to take? This is us at a dinner, like just talking about, we came up with two. Okay. Tell me if you want the chair or the table.
The chair.
Okay. So you know how you have that chair in your room or your house where you just like throw clothes?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone has that chair.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're thinking of a relationship, let's say it's that little issue. Like they said a comment that really rubbed you the wrong way and that's a sweater on the chair, but you just kind of keep going. And then the next week something happens and they throw jeans on the chair and it keeps piling up.
Right.
We are normal and there is stuff being thrown on the chair, but every single day we clean that chair. We pick up the jeans, we fold them and we put them away. Like we talk about the little things as they happen. So we don't have this giant pile that makes us become the Starbucks couple who cannot hear each other because I can't see
the poor Starbucks couple.
Because I can't see you because the pile is so ginormous. I'm suffocated by the pile. So when things come up, which they do, we talk about it immediately and we problem solve. And like put ourselves in each other's shoes. We have a rule of there's never screaming, there's never swearing. We don't raise our voices. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of taking a break, a breather. Like I used to think, never go to bed upset. We go to bed every night loving each other. But sometimes we have nights where it's like, that bothered me. And honestly, I'm not sure the solution. I'm not sure what I need from you next time. I need to think about it. So I'm going to go just get the groceries tonight and I'm going to come back and I need some time to think. Not everything has to be solved immediately. Yeah.
I'm totally for the like, taking a break, even if it is overnight. I hate when people are like, don't go to bed upset.
We still kiss and there's love felt.
Right.
But I'm a little frustrated, but we can't solve it now maybe.
Yeah.
But we know we have each other's backs and we're not going anywhere.
Which is such a healthy way to look at it. Like, hey, I'm going to be here tomorrow morning.
Which is the benefit of marriage. I mean, obviously.
It's very, very, very true.
Obviously, divorce happens, but we were kind of in an argument like a week ago and we like start to giggle. Like we pause it. We're like, wait, it's so funny because he's like, nothing's going to happen. We're stuck with each other.
Like, it's actually so comical because it is true. It's like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
We have to work through this.
Yeah. There's literally no way.
As long as you are abiding by the promises and commitments we made with this marriage, right? Like, I'm always like, if you cheat on me, there's no working through it. Like,
yeah. No, so true. And it's crazy because, okay, so when he goes off to New York, something I also think that
me going on these rants and Allie bringing me back to the timeline is cracking me up.
No, it's all relevant, okay? But I feel like when in the women or even men listening to this podcast who are like, oh wow, like my relationship, like this, my significant other wants to do this, but like it's gonna take away from time from us or whatever. The craziest part is that I feel like the times I've let Isaac free, it has benefited both of us and made our relationship stronger. And I can only imagine if Isaac, like, let's say last year when he like was up and down with the Raiders, I was like, you know what, can we just be done with this? If I forced him to do that, like, I have no idea what that would mean for our relationship, what that would look like, resentment. Like, there's just so much. And that chair is looking like there's a fuck ton of laundry on it.
Yeah. And honestly, like, that's how I think you see as relationships develop. The communication lacks. People start unhealthy coping mechanisms, whether it's with gambling or drinking or adultery, like, because you don't have the ability.
You say it so, like, you were, like, the cleanest, like, I'm like, oh, and then you fucking cheated on you with your best friend.
Well, honestly, the reason I did that is because we were coming off of the Isaac example. So I wanted to really detach it because Isaac is like such a golden retriever human being. But I didn't want to be like, and then what if Isaac starts drinking?
You
Like,
sound so healed.
I literally came from therapy this morning. Like it didn't, I've done.
You're like, I'm great.
No, but I'm saying like it takes a lot of work. But when you do
I just
the
listened
work,
to a murder podcast this morning. So I'm coming off a different type of high.
Yeah. That stuff's good too. What I would say is for the people listening who do have someone who want to make this big change for themselves and it does affect you, I think it's really important to make sure you differentiate between like, okay, what can you self-soothe? Like, do you not want them to go do this because you don't feel confident in your social relationships and you don't feel like you have enough friends to occupy your weekends? And if they leave, you'll have literally nothing to do. But is that really the right reason to not let someone you love pursue something? Or should that happen and then you can grow by putting yourself out there and trying to build some friendships and be forced?
I'm in therapy right now.
Yeah, to sit with the discomfort of what you don't. Because honestly, like, for example, with Max being a full-time broadcaster this season with the CW, he was like, babe, I'm going to be gone for 15 weekends, 14 of those in a row. That's difficult. That's not easy. And so I also had to say, okay, like, I'm so happy for you. This is your dream job right now.
Right.
And every Tuesday at 4 p.m., we need to block. That's our time.
Right.
We're both going to commit that work ends at 4 on Fridays. Fortunately, I have the luxury to do that. I'm self-employed.
Right.
And he was able to say, okay, if I'm going to be working on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I can give you my. So then I knew, okay, but every Tuesday we have our special time. It's just ours. Like, it's also okay to be like, all right, I'm going to flex in this huge way for you. And this is what I need. I need then our mornings to not have our phones, or I need you to go on a 30-minute walk with me every Friday. Like, it's also okay to say, and this is what I need to feel good in this commitment as well.
That's such a healthy way to view it. And I feel like at that point, like, both people feel comfortable and confident moving forward and allowing like the space to grow, because I think with anything that involves growing, it's a little uncomfortable, right? Like, you're out of your routine, or you're out of your community, or you're doing something new and it's scary. And so I feel like those experiences will help you grow, but also help your relationship grow, help you grow like stronger together, take a new route. And I feel like that's like the projection of like a good relationship is allowing each other to do what each other wants, but then also still like finding the time to like make each other comfortable.
Yeah. My concern is we'll lose quality time if we don't have our weekends. Okay, what's our solution? Let's pencil it in on Tuesday nights and we won't see friends. We won't watch, like, we'll do what we want, you know? So we do a lot of the thinking ahead of like, hey, this is what makes me nervous about this. And then here's how we can soothe and like accommodate.
Right. Every new year, I feel like we all set really big goals, but come to find out, only 8% of people will stick with their resolutions all year long. Wow, that's terrifying. But with Acorns, you can lock in years and years of healthy money habits in just 5 minutes. That's all the time it takes to open your own account and start automatically saving and investing your money so it has a chance to grow. I feel like with all my other resolutions, it's like I have to continuously be putting in the work. I got to go to the gym. I got to eat healthy every single day. It's like making a certain decision. But with Acorns, they make it really easy by building an automatic routine, and you still get that fresh start feeling. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing so your money has a chance to grow for you, your kids, your retirement, and you don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorn lets you invest with spare money that you've got right now. You can start with literally just $5 and even your spare change. Acorns is simple, it's user-friendly, and it gives you small, simple steps to get you and your money on track. And I am such a big fan of that because when it comes to investing, like 10 cents here, $1 there, $5 there, it all makes such a difference. So be sure to head to acorns.com/Sunday or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Sunday. With the new year, we all have our goals, and one goal in particular of mine includes getting my body back on track after having a baby, being postpartum, breastfeeding, all of that. And I am choosing healthier options. I'm choosing to up my vitamin routine, and with that comes Ritual. I have been talking about Ritual, oh my gosh, for the past few years because I genuinely love the company. But one product I've truly fallen in love with is their Symbiotic. If you've ever taken a probiotic, you might find this a little interesting, but lots of probiotics break down during digestion before they even reach the colon. So that's a little irritating because it's like you're not getting all of the microbiotics safely down to your biome. And that's literally the point, right? So Ritual's Symbiotic is designed with a delayed release capsule to help reach the colon, which is an ideal place for biotics to grow and thrive. You guys know I've talked about my intolerances before. I've talked about my gut. I'm always having like gut issues, and it was a no-brainer to add the Symbiotic into my routine, and I truly love it. I feel like it's been keeping me regular, and also it has high quality clean ingredients, and all of Ritual's products are vegan, GMO free. They're also tested for heavy metals and common allergens. So it was a perfect thing to add into my vitamin routine, and I feel like my body is thanking me for it. So if you guys are interested to get your gut going this 2025, I highly recommend Ritual's Symbiotic. Support a balanced gut microbiome with Ritual Symbiotic. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/Sunday. That's ritual.com/Sunday for 25% off your first month. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet on touchdowns. If you're ready to place your first bet, try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SSC. That's code SSC for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-879-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. So you dealt with a lot of like eating disorders, body image all throughout college. So now, that was 8 years ago, right? Like it was
it was a lot of my teenage years. Like ever since I was 12, I can think about being on a diet until I was like 19.
So how in your adult life, because now there's alcohol involved, there's food, you're cooking on your own, there's date nights. How are you dealing with a healthy relationship with not only food, but also your body?
Yeah. So
especially as like a former D1 athlete where you're like applauded for having all those muscles and looking so in shape and toned, and you have like a set workout every single day.
Yes.
To now it's like all on you.
It was a huge adjustment for sure. And what I will say for me has been the biggest blessing in my life that has allowed me to feel like I have a peaceful relationship with food in my body has been the practice of intuitive eating. And intuitive eating is a mindfulness framework. It's an approach to food where you are thinking about what your body needs, wants, is craving, or how to fuel yourself so that you're going to feel satisfied. And not just in like the emotional way, but in more of a holistic way. So, for example, a lot of people probably think about food like, oh, I eat what is, quote, healthy. Like, so I have a salad because I'm supposed to have a salad, or I have 3 meals a day because the magazine said it, or I have 6 small meals a day because that magazine said it, or I have egg whites because I've just heard they're better for you. But what would you eat for breakfast if you took a moment to breathe and say, what am I actually craving and what does my body want? Now, people might think, well, I would have cake because I'm asking myself what my body wants. I would have cake for breakfast.
Right.
Okay, let's follow that train of thought. You have cake. Okay, what do you have for lunch if you eat what your body wants? More cake. What do you have for dinner? Maybe Taco Bell. Okay, great. If you're really doing this the next day, don't you think by Thursday, you're going to be like, cake sounds not that great.
Right.
I actually think I would love a cold, crunchy carrots with hummus and maybe some crackers. And that feels amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then your friend might say, but do you want these cookies? Nah, I just had cookies 3 days in a row and I can have cookies whenever I want. So why would I want them now? So
so interesting.
Yes. So that's like,
because I'm like, I want pancakes with blueberries. That sounds incredible.
But I realized that a lot of what I wanted was because I was dieting and it was forbidden and I was not allowed to have it. So of course, when I'm at an event and there's a buffet table, all I'm thinking about is the buffet table, like, because I can't eat. And I ate before I came. So I specifically would not eat here to control it. And I can't touch the table. And so you're talking to people, but you're thinking about the food.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm intuitively eating, I'm like, wait, the buffet table actually looks so fucking gross. I would rather wait and use this hunger on after this when we go through the In-N-Out drive-through. Like,
it's crazy because I literally go after every single event. I go to In-N-Out after.
Yeah, no, it's the best. I would too if I was taking your drive. That'd be like the get me through it, right?
Yeah.
But this is all very high level. This is me explaining intuitive eating in the highest way. Of course, it's going to be difficult and there's challenges, and you have to build the trust with yourself. The trust for me to think I'm going to allow myself to eat whatever I want and not go binge 4,000 calories. One time I had, I think, 6 Krispy Kreme donuts in like 20 minutes. No. And then I played volleyball practice.
Wait.
No, it was the discomfort I felt. It was because I was not allowed to have donuts. And I was like, okay, well, I'll have one. And then my teammates kind of left the locker room and I was like, okay, well, I'll have another. And then I was like, well, after this, I'm definitely going to like really stick to my diet and I'm not going to have any more donuts. So I'm going to have
one more.
And like, it's like it's all not even real. It's not even real because it's this diet culture voice. And when you really work to heal that, and it takes time, I would recommend the book Intuitive Eating by Elise Resch and Evelyn Triboulet. I would recommend their Intuitive Eating workbook. Elise Resch has that. And then Breaking Free from Emotional Eating by Janine Roth is the book that really transformed it for me.
Wow.
And I talk about this a lot on my page. And on my podcast, I have like probably 20 episodes on intuitive eating if you want to search real about intuitive eating.
It is so interesting. And I wonder how many other athletes deal with issues related to eating. Because not to expose my husband, but like Isaac has a horrible relationship with eating. And sometimes I just have to like put him in check. Maybe he should talk to you.
Does Isaac want to come on Real Pod for the exclusive?
Oh my God, yeah.
On body image?
But like Isaac has tried so many things and he struggles because, I mean, I think it's so tough watching somebody go through like the mind stress and then like looking in the mirror and looking at the weight. Like he just did a 3-day fast. I'm like, that's not healthy for anybody.
Well, and for him and a lot of male athletes, you have, especially in football, you have been told to hit like a 4,000, 5,000 calorie mark every single day. He's competing with the other.
You have to be a certain weight.
People in his position group who are giant, and he wants to be as physically big. So, and then when that's taken away, he's like, oh, hey, my natural set weight, which is everyone has their natural set point weight, is probably lower than like the over index he's been doing.
Right.
And then that's weird because it's like, hey, but I've always been the big, strong guy. So that, that's weird. And I really empathize with men because it's also stigmatized that for them, the amount of men who talk about body image issues is very micro compared to the amount of women who talk about body image issues. But
I feel like the struggle is there and the same.
Exactly.
Crazy. So then where does the relationship with how you view your body, because intuitive eating sounds great.
Yeah.
But then when you start to see your body maybe change or it's not changing, how did you come to grips with that, especially as like a woman in her 20s? I think, and I mean, speaking for me personally, like being in my 20s, I'm like, okay, so I don't have the same metabolism I did when I was younger. Oh, so now if I drink, I'm going to feel really hungover the next day. Oh, and now if I do this and if I do this and then like all of that. So how did you become okay with like I'm confident in my body?
It's taken a lot of time. So I want to say that.
Yeah.
Also, I want to say that I am objectively a thin white
Right.
woman. So I am closer to this beauty standard than other people might be. And I want to recognize that because, you know,
I applaud you.
that's there.
Thank you.
Let's call it out. And then to get to answering the question, I remember what it was like to feel like absolute shit about myself and to look in the mirror and not like what I saw and to be in a dressing room. I'm getting kind of sad to be in a dressing room and cry because I'm not wearing the number that I want to wear in the dress and to step on the scale and not see the number I want to see. It breaks my heart to think about it now. So I think what I realized is, okay, so what are my options? I can go on these, I can say I dislike my body, so I'm going to go on a diet to fix it. Okay, the diet's not going to work because 90% of diets end in failure. And 85 to 90% of people who go on diets end up gaining the weight and more back. They don't work because of the restriction. It's never going to work. If you're not happy in your skin, gentle changes. Move your body because you know it's good for you and because you want to feel joy. Don't go to workout class because the thought is I hate myself and I have to go to this class.
That's a horrible way to live life.
It is. And I used to do that stuff. And also, like, instead of taking things away that you're not allowed to eat, try to add in foods that you know fuel your body well and make you feel good. And let's take a different approach in 2025.
Right.
But I think for me, like, I always come back to peace with myself and food is more important and it is the life I want. It opens me up for so many other things than getting caught up in the cycle. It's difficult. Everyone is on Ozempic, it feels like, okay?
Oh my God.
And I literally actually was crying to Max about this the other night because I was like, I feel like I had to do all this work to heal and to like accept. And it's now like, take this thing and then don't have this problem. And of course, you know, those people might not be having to do the work and then they might need to do the work later on in their life or it might come up in a different way. I don't want that for people. I want everyone to have a good, happy life.
Right.
But, you know, yes, I look around and I'm like, you know, oh, if I had the younger version of me would have wanted a skinnier body. Yes. She would have. So, but to be okay in my skin now, I think I've just really worked through a lot of acceptance. I had to do things like I wasn't getting in pictures with my friends at this point in college. I was like, you know what triggers me? I'm going to get in pictures. They're all going to be smaller than me. They're going to be shorter than me. They're going to be more petite than me. I'm going to hate the way my arm looks or whatever. So I'm just not going to get in them. And I'm going to actually just put on an outfit that feels pretty and I'm going to enjoy the night. I stopped getting on the scale. I deleted Facetune. I'm just going to stop putting every picture through a filter and subconsciously telling myself I'm not good enough without Photoshop.
Right.
Like I did have to look at these things and say, what are these habits that are contributing for me to be stuck in this I'm never pretty enough and my body's never good enough mindset. So there was that. And then also
it's crazy though because all like especially in college, like everybody's using Facetune. Everybody's doing a diet. Everybody's like, and so I feel like there's also like all this peer pressure not to do drugs or alcohol, but like try out this new diet or like God forbid, like now in college, like if you're gaining the freshman 15, like maybe people are like, I'm going to do Ozempic because it's just like, I know it'll keep the weight off.
I get ads for the little semaglutide 1 pills and the gummies. Like it's so now even more attainable than like getting the inject. I don't even know how it works, but I think it's like a needle, right? It's like this whole thing. And now they're like marketing it. And
like take it as a vitamin.
Yeah. And it's difficult to see. I'm very grateful that I'm where I am now when this is all coming out, because when I was younger, that was all I wanted and wished and prayed for. I would Google how to lose 30 pounds in a month. Like that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. And I still, even being where I'm at, struggle and have my days where I'm like, this is hard to see online.
Right.
But I think people really need to get real with themselves and think about like, what actually to me is a meaningful life. It's so sad to see so many women think the most important thing in their lives is to be the prettiest.
You know, it's wild because now being postpartum, okay, I had my daughter about a year ago. I gained, I think like 40 pounds when I was pregnant. She was a big girl, okay? I became a big girl. It's fine. So when I gained all that weight, one, I didn't realize how hard it would be seeing myself gain the weight because I'm like, oh, I'm growing a baby. Yeah, like I want to get big. Like I want to like, and then I will never forget at my 20-week appointment, I step on the scale and they go, oh, you've gained X amount of pounds. I was like, oh, I did not need to fucking know that.
Yeah.
And then you have your baby. And then the first thing people are like, oh, how quickly can they bounce back? And I had a C-section. I would say I stayed pretty like active throughout my pregnancy. So right after a C-section, I feel like I lost a lot of blood and like a lot of weight. And I was like all of a sudden like thin. But then like a few months later, so then I get a lot of people being like, oh, you're like unrealistic for bouncing back. And then a few months later, I'm like, oh, wait, I look bigger than I'm used to. But it's crazy because I blame the fact that me growing up 6 feet tall, always like 125, 130 pounds throughout high school. I always got the compliment, you're so tall and skinny. You should be a model, tall and skinny, tall and skinny, tall and skinny. That now I'm an adult, I'm having like a normal body that I'm not 130 pounds anymore. And then I have a baby and then all this stuff that I place so much emphasis on being tall and skinny because that's what I was my whole life. Like nobody ever was like, "Oh, I love your mind. You're so smart." I think that was like so well said. No, I grew up tall and skinny. So now I'm like, I'm not fucking, well, I am tall, but I'm not skinny. So I think that's like a huge struggle is that like I had so much emphasis on that and now I don't have that. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Okay, a few things. I know we don't have time. Me wanting to be your time and as your therapist. I would like everyone to notice that I'm not going to make any comments about your body because I think that that's important. I'm not going to validate what you're saying. I'm not going to say, no, that's not true. You're this, because I want to emphasize to you, it's not important to me in our friendship or in who you are. It's not important. So there's little things you can try to do to help you remember. And then also, if you want to take the feminist approach, like women spend so much time in the mirror on a diet, obsessed. Like, what is that time and energy you could be putting on your business, in making money, in like things you want to do in your life? Like men are not consumed in that way because the media has told them it's okay to age. It's okay to have a dad bod. It's hot to have a dad bod.
Right.
Like, you know, but I know what you mean by like you were praised for this thing.
Right.
So then you have that identity, that question. But one more thing I'll say on that is I really want people who listen to this maybe to just start with this question. Like, what if the most important thing is not being the prettiest? What if that's not the most important thing?
It's a hard question.
And the fact that we've been told that that's what we strive for, really. It's why people, they go get the filler, they go get the this, which is, I have friends that do it. It's all good. I have no idea where my life will take me. I'm not hating on it. But like, we all do it because it's like, oh, I need to be prettier. What would your life be if being the prettiest was not a game you were going to play anymore?
I won't comment on your exterior, but I'll comment on your interior. I feel like you're a beautiful soul.
Thank you.
Like you're such an accepting person. So now that I've talked a little bit about my postpartum, I have to ask before we end the episode, like, how do you think becoming pregnant, if that's something you choose to do? I know this is a sensitive topic.
You can ask. I don't get offended. I know people do. I don't.
Okay. So if you do you plan to get pregnant?
Yes, I would like to have kids one day.
Okay. So let's say, God willing, everything is fine, fertility and all of that. Okay. I know a lot of women struggle with that. I know this is such a sensitive topic for so many people. And
Nothing's
I think going through
to me
it,
if you can't tell, just fucking ask.
Say like going through it, I know there's so many things that I'm like, but okay, so let's just say all of that. We get it. But moving forward, how do you see yourself like preparing to maybe be pregnant, especially like in your mind? I'm not saying like, oh, you need to start a new workout routine before you get pregnant so you can carry it through pregnant. Like, how do you view like doing the work before you get pregnant?
So something that I've been curious about, and I don't know if there's research to show this at all, but because a lot of women are in this diet mindset, I wonder what it will be like as an intuitive eater who isn't like, pregnancy is my excuse to eat whatever I want, if I will have that dramatic of a change in like, and I don't know, because I know my body will get bigger.
Right.
I know it will. But I also am not looking at pregnancy as like, perfect, now I can eat all this stuff I couldn't allow myself to eat because that doesn't exist for me. So that's something that I'm curious, like, and I, of course, will document the journey when the time comes of how that goes. I think, I'm prone to stretch marks. I have them all on my inner thighs. Like, I think about, if that will happen on my stomach and will I use a stretch mark serum? But if I do, doesn't that mean that I'm not accepting of like how my body grows, So I have those thoughts. I feel like the thing that honestly makes me the scaredest is like the postpartum depression, like things I see. As someone who's been depressed, I don't know why I feel like it's easier to be depressed again because you've like, where the door is. It's just like, do you open it? So I think that's something where my biggest fear would be having my baby and feeling nothing. And I feel very maternal and I'm a lover. But
I love.
Yeah, but that's something more than the body image stuff. It's the huge change to your life. I mean, Max and I will look at each other now and be like, where does the kid fit in?
Yeah.
Where does the kid fit in? Like, we're both going to make sacrifices. Like, I think that to me is the thing that gets me the most nervous as opposed to body image.
Right. Which is so refreshing to hear because your body's going to change. It's kind of a fact. Your life is going to change. It's kind of a fact. But I feel like so many people talk about bouncing back physically and not bouncing back mentally. Like where are you going to fill up your own cup? Because I've quickly realized after dealing with postpartum depression, like if nobody's filling up your cup and you're not taking time to do that, you can't be the best mother, wife, friend, partner unless you give time to yourself. So that is so interesting hearing that.
It's not.
I don't
probably
have any
not
advice.
for a few years. Probably not for a few years.
Well, you have.
But I will call you when the time comes.
No, absolutely. Like honestly, my biggest advice postpartum, I see one of my friends on TikTok doing it now, is like leaving the house is like my biggest advice postpartum. But I also feel like having a supportive partner helps a lot. I think that knowing that, hey, the next few months are going to be slower and I'm okay with that. As a Capricorn, don't like that.
I'm always curious with creators, like, because if you're working, I know people will roll their eyes, you're not working, but when your mind is thinking about content and you're posting and you're opening yourself up to thousands of feedback, it's a lot on your brain.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of the creators I see don't take 2 months off social media.
Oh, no.
They're like posting in labor. Oh, wait, was it you that had the brand deal?
Oh, yeah.
In labor?
No,
or like in the hospital?
No,
I think you told me about that, right?
I think I did tell you about it. I got a brand deal 24 hours. Well, I left my old social media management, wasn't able to take work for like this few months process. And then when I signed with my new management team, it was like the week before I gave birth. And they were like, oh, hey, we have this deal for you. It's due like 3 days after you give birth, but like, so we're gonna just give it to you because we legally have to, but like you don't have to do it. And I was like, okay, so it's the day before my C-section. Isaac, I need to film this ad real quick because I love working.
I know,
but it's so bad. I know a lot of women are like, please shut the fuck up because.
No, we are very blessed to have these jobs.
Yeah.
It is not one of the hardest jobs, but it takes effort, energy, strategy, and time.
Yeah.
Like,
It's definitely interesting because it's not the typical like maternity leave. But then again, the US doesn't have a typical maternity leave and you could literally leave your newborn at 6 weeks.
So I think about that. I'm like, what's my plan going to be? Because I really value the rest and the recharge. But also, I think I'll probably be like, if I'm excited and I feel inclined to post and share, I will do that. But I'm not going to set any expectations or musts.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on. I selfishly love this episode because I feel like you can speak so much to like women and even men, anybody dealing with shit up and down. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to tune in every Sunday Sports Club podcast. Thank you.